The Buffalo Bills are down to 3 players that they could be looking to draft at pick 26 tomorrow night. But the question is, will they even be picking there at all? We're going to get into everything that you guys need to know, looking about 28 hours ahead of the NFL draft tomorrow night. So this morning, Peter Schrager released his mock draft 2.0. If you guys are not aware, Peter Schrager drops only 2 mock drafts the entire draft cycle, and the last one is the day before the NFL draft. And he is one of the most plugged in guys with the most intel across the entire league. So his mock drafts year after year are the most accurate. Now, in his mock draft this morning, he had the Buffalo Bills selecting defensive tackle Peter Woods, which definitely garnered a lot of talk from Bills fans, to say the very least. Now, in that article, he also mentioned how the Bills could be going with Casey Concepcion at pick 26, but he opts for the Bills to be taking a defender at this selection instead. Now, Bills fans, you guys see there were quite a lot of comments, quite a lot of views on this post. So we're going to get into what Bills Mafia has to say, and that is one thing I'll be implementing into my channel more. So if you guys are not following me on X at NickSmitty3, go follow me right now, because in every single video from here on out, I'll be implementing my viewers' thoughts and opinions into these videos, so you guys can be a part of this community that we are building from the ground up. But next up, Matt Miller at NFL Draft Scout on X. He paired up with Jeremy Fowler at ESPN to come up with their own mock draft. And in their mock draft, what do they have the Bills doing? Well, they have the Buffalo Bills selecting wide receiver Casey Concepcion. He is a guy who I think a lot of Bills fans have been really, really wanting this entire draft process. And after making some posts this morning and last night, it has definitely, gotten my attention that basically every single Bills fan really wants Casey Concepcion on this team. However, in this article, which I put in my tweet, Matt Miller said, additionally, sources noted that the Bills could have also done considerable work on the safety class and could add one here or with their round 3 pick. So then I said, could the Bills be eyeing Thieneman or McNeil Warren at 26? Now, being realistic, Thieneman is probably going to be off the board. But then, let's say he falls down past the Vikings pick at pick 18, which is where he's expected to go, will the Bills make a splash and move up for Thieneman? Because if Matt Miller is saying that the Bills have done a considerable amount of work on the safety class, they have to know that Thieneman is one of the best safeties in the draft behind Caleb Downs. And if he can fall into a range where they could move up, do not be surprised if the Bills end up moving up tomorrow for Dylan Thieneman, the safety out of Oregon. Now, Bills fans, I made this tweet at what time? About 9:30 in the morning. We've gotten 45 comments, so we have gotten quite a lot of opinions from Bills Mafia. And I said, Bills Mafia, make the pick. If the following 3 players are available at 26, who do you want the team to draft? And the 3 options that I gave you guys were Casey Concepcion, Caden McDonald, or Peter Woods. I apologize, that's off the screen for you guys. So yes, these are the 3 guys who have been mocked to the Bills consistently over the last couple of weeks, but also the guys that the Bills want. Now, when it comes to Peter Woods, you guys will see. Well, let's get into the comments. Let's see what Bills Mafia has to say. So you see Caden McDonald, you see trade back, which we'll get into more of that in just a little bit. Layden Roberts, Layden CFB on X, he says, I think if Casey is there, you almost have to pick him, and I kind of agree. Casey Concepcion, to me, is a Stephon Diggs kind of receiver, playmaker at all 3 levels, super good route running, super shifty of a player. I talked about him a lot in great depth yesterday in my YouTube video, so check that out after this one if you guys have not already. Moving on, Kyle Borchert. So this is the funniest thing I've seen on the timeline today. One of these is not like the other 2. I'm sprinting this card up to the podium. If you guys can't tell, Casey Concepcion is way different from Caden McDonald and Peter Woods. So he is Casey Concepcion going to the Bills. Rex Ryan's dentist. What a fantastic name on X. Easiest call ever, Caden McDonald. So we see some conflicting reports from Bills Mafia. And this nice guy goes Concepcion, McDonald in that order, not having any regard for Peter Woods. Let's take a look at a couple more. This guy, Jay Uso Fan 20 on X at Share Flights. He says, I would take Malachi Lawrence. This is another selection that has been kind of mocked to the Bills a little bit too recently. I've gone over him, and I believe he was in my video just yesterday, where Bills Mafia is kind of, they're kind of changing their stance on Malachi Lawrence. Sometimes, he's been mocked to the Buffalo Bills. Now, what I could see possible is if the Bills end up trading back, I think then he would become a candidate for the Buffalo Bills. We'll get into that in a little bit in this video. Casey Concepcion clears every option. This guy says Casey Concepcion, Caden McDonald, Casey or Caden. Whoever can stop another team's running back. We'll get into why Caden McDonald is probably the better option for the Bills there. Casey Concepcion, this guy wants none of them. None of those 3. McDonald, then I could then see if I could steal Hurst or Brazil somehow. But Bills fans, those are just some of the opinions from you guys on X. So like I said, in all future videos from here on out, that will be implemented into my videos. So make sure to follow me on X, but also leave a comment in the comment section down below. If you guys have a good comment or a good opinion in the comment section down below, I will also be including you guys in my next video, either after the Bills make their draft pick, which I will have a video out tomorrow night, first thing, once the Bills make their selection. And also, I'll probably have a video out earlier in the day giving my last minute intel, what I have, what the media is saying about the Buffalo Bills selection. But let's move on to the next part of this video. So Zbot, shout out to Zbot. What a phenomenal Bills creator on not only X but also on YouTube. He is, partnered with Roundtable Sports, who I absolutely love, and the Buffalo Fanatics. Now, he, as well as a bunch of creators at Roundtable Sports, were able to go to Pittsburgh for the NFL draft as media credentialed guys. And Zbot, shout out to him. He got an interview with Daniel Jeremiah. If you guys are not aware, Daniel Jeremiah is one of the best draft analysts I've ever seen. Possibly even better than Mel Kiper. He knows ball when it comes to these college prospects. So Zbot asked him simply, what should the Bills do at pick 26? Where should the Bills go? And Daniel Jeremiah had a very simple answer for Zbot.
Looking at pick 26 with the Buffalo Bills, what makes the most sense to you in your opinion?
The heck out of there.
You thinking so?
Yeah.
He said, get the heck out of there. And I honestly can't say that I disagree too much with Daniel Jeremiah. I mean, when you take a look at the Bills' total picks in this draft, you have pick 26 and pick 91. There is a lot of space in between those draft picks. Now, we're going to get into let's get into my personal mock trade right now that I think the Bills could be doing and looking at doing in the NFL draft. Now, this is where it gets risky, right? So I was just running this mock draft to see where things would stand, going into this draft where I was going to potentially do my mock trade. And in this draft class, the following happened. Casey Concepcion goes off the board at 21. Omar Cooper Jr. falls off the board at pick 24. And Peter Woods falls off the board at pick 25, one selection before the Buffalo Bills, which is where Peter Schrager had Peter Woods going. So now we're at pick 26, and we have Emmanuel McNeil-Warren and Caden McDonald on the board. Now, if you guys remember from earlier in this video, McDonald and McNeil-Warren are two guys that the Bills could definitely be looking after at the 26th pick in the NFL draft. But let's say the Bills do not want to necessarily make those picks at that time. They want to get more picks later in the draft. Let's say they don't value those two guys as highly as maybe I do or you guys do in Bills Mafia. So what if we made this trade with the Arizona Cardinals? Now, right here gets rejected. It was it worked for me before, so I don't get why they're changing their tune on this trade. But let's say the Bills trade back from pick 26 to pick 34. Let's say we also get pick 104 in this draft, and the trade gets accepted. So now the Bills move back a couple picks, but we also pick up another fourth rounder in the draft class. Now, when seeing the rest of this play out, Caden McDonald's off the board, McNeil-Warren's off the board, Caleb Banks is off the board, who has recently been mocked to go in the top 20, or as early as the top 20, according to Tom Pelissero, because his foot is completely fine. He'll be good to go in June. So Caleb Banks has been rising up the boards. But now we set up pick 34, and this is the question: what do the Bills do if they do trade back? So the guys on the board right here that I think the Bills should be in play for going to be Akeem Mesidor if he falls here, and then C.J. Allen, who I think would be such a good fit in this Bills defense. And I broke him down in my video yesterday as well, if you guys want to check that video out. So right here, Akeem Mesidor or C.J. Allen would probably be the picks for the Buffalo Bills. So Bills fans, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. If this scenario arises where we trade back and Akeem Mesidor is on the board, and I'm actually going to... We'll fix this for our next video. But let's say Akeem Mesidor and C.J. Allen are still on the board at pick 34. Which direction would you rather the Buffalo Bills go in? Would it be Mesidor? Would it be the linebacker and C.J. Allen? You guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. But Bills fans, one last thing I wanted to talk about. So, Tom Pelissero, he was on the Rich Eisen show this morning, which is where he said that Caleb Banks could be a potential top 20 pick. Also, in this interview, Tom Pelissero kind of shocked the world in a way, where he said that Carson Beck could be a first-round pick. Not that he's going to guarantee be a first-round pick, but there's a chance that he is a first-round pick. Let's say for some ungodly reason, a team really wants Ty Simpson or Carson Beck at the end of the first round. Let's say the Cardinals don't want to trade up as high as they would have to get our pick 26, to move back or to move up from 34 to 26. Let's say they just want to do a simple trade up with the Seahawks to get Carson Beck, where that leaves room on the table for another team to potentially move up to 26 for either Carson Beck or Ty Simpson. But also, if a team wants Ty Simpson, they can move up to 26. But the Cardinals also would rather have Ty Simpson, but they know if they can't get him, they're going to have to settle for Carson Beck. Then, hey, maybe we could see a little bit of a bidding war going on for pick 26. And a trade that was rejected by the Cardinals before in my mock trade, 26 for 34 and 65. Maybe that's the bare minimum of what the Bills will be getting because of how much demand there would be for Ty Simpson or Carson Beck at the end of this first round, which the fact of me even saying that out loud kind of blows my mind, but it's definitely a possibility heading into the 2026 NFL draft. But Bills fans, that is what you need to know as of right now, going into the NFL draft tomorrow, where the Bills stand. Peter Woods, Casey Concepcion, Kaden McDonald being big guys on the Bills draft board, but also the safeties, Thieneman and McNeil Bourne, being possibilities for the Buffalo Bills at pick 26, or if the Bills want to move up for Thieneman, but also CJ Allen, and maybe even a linebacker in Jacob Rodriguez being a guy the Bills could look at in the second round of the NFL draft. But Bills fans, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you guys have made it this far into the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for daily Buffalo Bills content. But I'll see you guys tomorrow for the NFL draft spectacular. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.